You spoke recently to someone about the fact that forgiveness is incredibly important and is an incremental journey, but it is going to be more effective if there's actually healing that precedes it. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Well, again, it is a dynamic of these are situations does one become wounded in this sort of way? Are we talking about a physical wounding? We're really not talking about a physical wounding. We're talking about a dynamic of emotional wounding.
Usually emotional.
A dynamic of emotional wounding that sets up behavioral templates, that sets up dynamics of behavior that are repetitive in nature. Right? These are dynamics that we call your soul's journey. These are the things that you have chosen to overcome, chosen to challenge yourself with in this particular lifetime. And so in that sort of sense, if you understand that and you realize that that's part of what you gave yourself, then ultimately you are taking responsibility for all of the things that occurred to you in your life, both positive and negative. And so if you take that level of responsibility of the realization that you have given yourself these challenges within this dynamic of this particular incarnation so that you might transcend them, so that you might move beyond them, so that you might heal them, then you understand that the dynamics are buried within your subconscious. The repetitive dynamics are not in your conscious mind. You're not choosing to have the bad relationship over and over again. You're not choosing to be the alcoholic. You're not choosing to be the drug addict. You're not choosing these things. These are repetitive dynamics that energetically keep repeating themselves until you can begin to speak to the subconscious, begin to change the programming in the depth that it exists. That programming doesn't speak a spoken language because it is responsible for the survival of the infant. The traumatic dynamics of incarnation and imprinting emotionally of mother into the infant could be fatal if it was not for the subconscious, which is there to protect the child, to protect the infant. And it protects the infant by beginning by creating beliefs. The first belief that it often creates is, it's not safe to love. It's not safe to love. And so many of the dynamics in your world will, because belief creates behavior that reinforces belief that creates behavior. Here's the cycle.
Right, and it just repeats and repeats.
That's right. So it will just repeat and repeat and repeat, reinforcing the dynamic until that dynamic has so much energy behind it that you have to deal with it. Or you can know that's the way that it works, and you can begin to take the opportunity to utilize the journey to begin to understand that there is a certain amount of healing that needs to be done in that sort of way. And if it's done on the level of the subconscious, which only understands the language of emotion, metaphor, and symbol. And so if you can begin to understand and operate within that realm,
you can change your programming.
You can change the programming and therefore heal any dynamic. Any dynamic. Then, once you have healed that dynamic, it then becomes possible to move into forgiveness.
Real and lasting forgiveness of
others.
Well,
real and lasting forgiveness when you realize, because when you realize that you've actually gained something positive from it,
it's
now
all
you
right.
may have had to been hit over the head 20 or 30 times. All right? But eventually, if you do get it and you move beyond the dynamic of your, what we would call life lesson, your whole reality changes and the whole dynamics of possibility change. And that is what humanity is facing. As that continues on an individual basis, so that too reflects outwardly into the consensus reality. And that's what you're all experiencing right now, the reflection of Donald Trump, the Republicans against the Democrats, the deep state against everyone, all of this division and conquer, division and chaos, and all of that stuff is intended to keep you off balance so that you cannot claim your true abilities. And so, but again, there are those negative energies, we would say, that are trying to keep this information from you, and yet the divine energy is pushing more and more and more toward this dynamic of discovery of your own ability, discovery of who you really are. And as you remember your realness, you'll realize that almost everything has been intended to put you in a box of belief. You create your reality through your beliefs, so you might as well create the most flexible belief system for yourself possible.